Here I am outside the Liberty Post Office, its current modern location. What's this? Here I am at the site of what was once the Liberty Post Office.
Delivering mail can be fun.
Yes, here I am on Main Street in Liberty, Missouri, outside the building that once housed the Liberty Post Office. And after the Liberty Post Office moved, it later became the Liberty Public Schools Board of Education. This is a building that definitely has had multi-uses.
Ron McCoy is warped.
That's time warped? Yes, here I am outside the building that once housed the Liberty Post Office. It now houses law offices, but for a long time, it was a post office. Yes, after this building served as Liberty's post office, then it became the Liberty Board of Education building, and the building served that purpose until the Board of Education moved out in 2001 because they constructed a new building on the other side of Liberty. And when I was interviewing for a job, hoping to become a teacher in Liberty Public Schools, which I did end up getting that position, 6th grade at Franklin, I remember walking up these steps over here, heading in so that I could begin the first of a series of interviews which would eventually secure me my job. My dad began to work here as a postal carrier in 1960. He remained here until a new building was built down on Mississippi and Prairie. Next, the Liberty Post Office was housed here in a building constructed specifically for the Liberty Post Office. You can even see the loading docks kind of on the back. It's actually on the side of this building. During the era when my dad worked at this post office, he bowled in a league. Interestingly, he bowled in a league with several of his fellow workers, two of whom were actually the postmasters at one time or another. This man, Oliver Happy, was postmaster. Then, the man on the left, Vernon Graham, was postmaster. Initially, my dad was a letter carrier in town in Liberty, Missouri. Notice the United States Postal Service insignia depicting the Pony Express on this postal worker's sleeve. And on New Year's Eve, 1972, my dad was wearing his postal shirt that evening. Look closely. You can see the United States Postal Service insignia from the 1970s on my dad's shirt. And here are all of the postal patches that were used throughout the history of the United States Postal Service. Yes, the McCoy family sure knew how to celebrate the coming of the new year. This film clip shows, from left to right, my grandmother Moore, my dad, my sister Susan, between the two of them, my sister Sandy frolicking, my mom was running the camera, and, of course, yours truly, Ronnie McCoy. So yes, initially, my dad worked here in the town of Liberty, delivering letters and packages from house to house, from business to business, and so forth. This stand-up sign was found in this post office, and I'm sure other post offices. It was designed to remind people to put zip codes on their letters and packages. And in the early 70s, when it was no longer going to be used in the post office, my dad toted it home. I thought it was the neatest thing. It sat around in my room, my bedroom at home, around our house for a long, long time. Eventually, I guess, my mom discarded it. Eventually, my dad worked his way up to being a rural letter carrier. He was able to drive his own vehicle as a result of that, and I believe that in this phase of his career as a postal carrier, this was his favorite part. I remember that at Christmas time, he used to bring home some pretty amazing gifts that people on his rural route had given to him in appreciation for his hard work. And as palatial as this building was for the Liberty Post Office, eventually it became too small and the post office moved again, this time on the south side of Liberty. And that is where I will be heading next. Here I am outside the current Liberty Post Office, a modern facility, and here is the modern day 2026 mail carrying contrivance. However, they haven't always been this sleek. And here is a photo of my dad in 1993. This was the year that he retired from the Postal Service as a rural carrier. And yes, for most of his time working for the Liberty Postal System, my dad was a rural carrier. And speaking of rural, in a semi-rural area of Liberty exists a most unusual place, one that has been around for over 60 years. And now, here I am at Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center, as it appears in the year 2026, and the same arena that my sister used when she did her dog training. Is still in existence in the present day. Now, when my sister did that dog training, it was in the mid-70s, 1975. My sisters had joined 4-H prior to that, and 4-H used to have a number of fairs, usually in the summer, where everyone had the opportunity to demonstrate what it was that they had been working on. For example, my sister Susan worked on photography in addition to dog training. And it was in August of 1977 that my sister Susan convinced my sister Sandy and me that we should work at Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center as camp counselors. Well, Sandy and I felt like we were up a tree in this photograph taken the week before we began to work as camp counselors at Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center.
Okay, let's have it.
Go ahead. Tell them all about the big one. They got away.
My sister Sandy did cake decorating. We got a lot of humor out of that. So, yes, Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center holds very fond memories for me. It all began in the 1960s when a community saw the need for organized youth groups to have a place to meet. Boy Scouts, 4-H, Girl Scouts Camp, Fire Girls, FFA, Future Farmers of America, and junior deputies were all involved and represented at the dedication of the Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center. Initial programs consisted of overnight campouts, softball, horseshoes, youth meetings, day camps, and the annual 4-H fair. And then, beginning in 1992, I was a part of something called Radical Challenge, which was held here at Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center. It was a program that I had my class participate in almost every single year through the fall of 2019. And we always started right up here at the Ernest Shepard Memorial Youth Center building before heading back behind the building to participate in a multitude of truly invigorating team building activities.
I hope somebody likes sardines. That's the best you can catch when somebody, who shall be nameless, breaks your line.
What is it those mailmen chaps say? Neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow. Never said anything about trees.
We now return your post offices and youth center to you until the next episode of Ron McCoy's Time Warped is delivered.
Then he'll be lost in time for the rest of his life.
Oh, I'm being pulled into another fantastic adventure somewhere along the infinite corridors of time. Here in the Liberty Commons in 2026, there are thriving businesses as far as the eye can see. At one time, this area looked considerably different, and right behind my left shoulder to your right was a Kmart at one time. A Kmart in Liberty. Fascinating.